Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and today I wanted to share with you the Morgan dollar. So the Morgan dollar, just in a nutshell, it was produced from 1878 to 1904, and then again they did a run of them in 1921, and it's a silver dollar. It contains 90% silver, 10% copper, and it was the first standard silver dollar minted since the previous design, the seated Liberty dollar, had ended because they passed a Coinage Act in 1873, which made it not free for coining silver. You couldn't coin it for free anymore. And so, anyway, this was a silver dollar. And so, what's interesting about these is, to me, that seems like a really old coin. 1878, that's a long time ago. But there are a lot of them floating around still. A lot of them were preserved just because they were silver dollars, and they were kind of a neat thing. I know my father had collected these ones and just kind of passed them down. So anyway, just wanted to share a little bit about their history. And so first off, when you look at it, a lot of people are going to ask you, how much is it worth? That's the first thing they want to know. And so the reality is it could be as little as $10 and up to $100. And of course, there's certain mintages and things that will drive that price up into the thousands if you find just the right coin. So if you do find one of these, the first thing that you'll want to do, of course, is look at the date. So for an example, this is 1878. Then you're going to want to find out where it was minted, okay? And so it's really hard to see. It's right there. See that tiny little dot right underneath these leaves right here and right above dollar? You'll see that tiny little dot. And so this one, I believe that's an S for San Francisco. And so the mints, there were several mints that did these. And so you had... If there's not a marking at all, if it's just blank right there, then that was the Philadelphia Mint. If you see CC, that's Carson City. S is San Francisco. O is New Orleans, and D is Denver. So that's the differences there. Now, a little trick that I did with the iPhone, which I'm recording on now, is I put a drop of water right over the camera lens. And if you're holding it down with that water droplet facing downward, you can turn it into a magnifying glass. So I'll show you up close what some of these mintage marks look like. So pardon the camera being a little shaky here, but you'll see there's the S for San Francisco, very clear, right above where it says dollar. Here's another coin here just to show you. And this one has the O, so that's going to be the New Orleans. And then this last one doesn't have anything, so that's the Philadelphia Mint. And you can see here under there, it's just blank. Okay, so here I have an 1878, which was the first year that they minted, and then a 1921, which was the last year that they minted. And so I was just going to show you kind of side by side, and you know, these are circulated coins, so sorry that this one's a little scratched up. That's just how they are. But I just wanted to show you that overall they have a generally the same design on there, and so sometimes when they remake a coin, it's a little bit different, but I just wanted to show you kind of what these look like side by side. The thickness, by the way, is 2.4 millimeters thick. Okay, the rarest coin of these Morgan dollars is the 1889 Carson City, so it would say CC on it. I do not have that. I'm close. Got an 1890 here. But 1889 is the one you're looking for if you want the lowest mintage production. Okay, and so where does it get its name? It's from the United States Mint Assistant Engraver, so his name was George T. Morgan. So that's why they're called the Morgan dollar. And on the obverse side, which is the front, it has Lady Liberty. And on the reverse side, it has an eagle representing freedom on the reverse side here. And so it's an eagle with its wings outstretched, just kind of depicting, you know, the freedom and everything that you would expect in a beautiful United States coin. So that's the two sides. So as mentioned earlier, there's a lot of acts going on here that it was changing the way that silver was being produced. And so the miners wanted it to be struck for free. And so they would bring the silver to the mint, and the mint would have to just strike it for free and return it to them. And so basically a different act had come out. First of all, the Coinage Act of 1873 ended the free coining. And so then this dollar came about, and the Bland-Allison Act was passed, which required the Treasury to purchase about $4 million worth of silver at market value to be coined into dollars each month. Okay, then in 1890, the act was repealed by the Sherman Silver Purchase Act. Okay, and so that now made it so the Treasury had to purchase 4,500,000 troy ounces of silver every month, but they only had to require silver dollar production for 1 year. And then that act again was repealed in 1893. So you have a whole bunch of acts that are coming and going. They're having a hard time deciding how to mint it, at what price to mint it, what the Treasury has to do. Okay, and then in 1898, Congress approved a bill that would require them to basically mint all the remaining bullion that was purchased for the Sherman Silver Act. Okay, and so when that happened, those reserves were all depleted in 1904, and they stopped making the Morgan dollar. Okay, then the Pittman Act was passed in 1918, and that authorized melting down and recoining of millions of the silver dollars. Okay, the Morgan dollars then resumed minting into the 1921 year after that, and then the design was ultimately replaced by the peace dollar in that same year of 1921. Okay, so 1921 was the last year of the Morgan dollar, and it was then replaced by the peace dollar. So you may have seen this one, same year. This is a 1922, but basically 1921, that's when this one had come out, and so that's a different coin. And then, very interestingly, in the 1960s, there was a large quantity of uncirculated Morgan dollars that were found in the original bags in treasury vaults. And they had ones that everybody thought were very rare, since they were probably hiding in the treasury vault anyway. And so they began to purchase them and send them out at face value, and people started hoarding them. And then around that time, the Treasury stopped exchanging the silver certificates for silver coins, and so that kind of ended that as well. So these were the good old days. Silver certificate. Instead of what it says now as a Federal Reserve note, this was $5 in silver payable to the bearer holder on demand. So you could actually go slap this bad boy down, and they would give you 5 of those Morgan dollars or peace dollars. Okay, and then later in 2006, the reverse design, so this side here, was used on a silver dollar to commemorate San Francisco's Mint building. So that's kind of a neat fact as well. Okay, and I'll put a link in the description that shows where you can find the values of each of these, depending on where they were minted. Mainly, you're looking at these being, $40 coins is kind of normal. Some of them ranging into the hundreds. You can get $1,700 if you had an 1879 Morgan dollar from the Carson City Mint. So, the values are, they're kind of everywhere. And it shows on here $7,000 for a 1989 Morgan dollar in the Carson City Mint. I believe we mentioned that one. On this chart, $20,000 for an 1893 out of the San Francisco Mint. So, none of mine, I believe, are worth anything like that. Mine are the the cheaper ones. But it's always fun as a treasure hunt, especially with something where the mint mark is so small. You never know when you receive a coin like this, and you might you know, strike it big and find out that it's worth something. Okay, this is from JM Bullion, just to give you an idea of some of the prices on here of what some of these are worth. You can see, you know, $39, $53, uncirculated. So you have uncirculated, extremely fine, and kind of good condition. So good condition, they don't really give a lot of these a price because it's whatever someone's going to pay for it. You know, 10, 20 bucks, just being a silver coin. But as you can see, some of these extremely low mintage ones are going to be worth some big money, but very, very unlikely. $20,000, wow, that'd be interesting. But I'll put a link to this. It's from JM Bullion, and I'll put that in the description. So anyway, put in the comments if you collect the Morgan dollars, and hopefully you enjoyed this brief story about the Morgan dollar and where it kind of came from and how it came about. So anyway, thanks for watching.